evening, and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. I'm Stacey Johnson. Joining me tonight, as usual, is Aguna, the Nigerian moderate Republican.
Voice of reason.
Keith, the constitutional conservative.
The fresh cut.
Stephen, the independent thinker. A special guest joining us tonight is No Cap.
Okay.
And my cousin Todd.
Oh, look at her.
All right.
Ducky,
We got a packed show for you tonight. NASCAR, there was a Chicago street race. Stephen will be talking about that. A Chicago street race weekend. And Caitlin Clark, WNBA. Caitlin Clark becomes first rookie in a WNBA history to record a triple-double. Todd with tennis as he talks about Wimbledon. And then the big Biden saga. Whether or not he should stay or should he go. You know the song. Should he stay or should he go? Israel attack kills at least 16.
Look at Keith.
And
Can't
House
wait to
Democrat
jump in on that.
is proposing, a House Democrat is proposing a constitutional amendment to reverse the Supreme Court's immunity decision regarding former President Trump. That and more, if we can fit it in. First up, Stephen, with NASCAR and the Chicago street race, or what did you want to talk about with NASCAR? You know, the Chicago street race I felt pretty good.
Did you watch it, Stacey?
Actually, I did not.
Well, they cut off actual roads in Chicago. This wasn't like a road course. This was they cut out actual streets and they race on the streets, and it is so much fun. And if you've known me on the show forever, I love the road course racing. I look forward to it. I don't miss it. And this was no disappointment at all. It had everything. It had racing slicks. It had rain tires. It had windshield wiper. It had protesters at the beginning. I think they jumped on the track and they were protesting having to live in Chicago, I think. I don't know exactly what they were upset about, but they slowed the race down from getting started. And it was just things like that. And then the rain came big and they got lightning, things happening. Everything was crazy. But it was a wild race. And all of the guys, the presumptive favorites, were having a hard time. The guy that was at first, you know, he could have won it all. He just crashed right just because it's raining. They're not used to this, but it's so much fun. But the bad thing that happened and the controversy is Bubba got involved in a crash and he was wrecked by the eventual winner, Alex Bowman. And Bowman just swiped him a little bit, hit him, wrecked him, screwed his car up a little bit. He had no way of winning the race. That was early in the race. Ended up, Bowman wins the race. And here comes Bubba Wallace, still fuming from when he got wrecked. And he just crashed into him. So he's in trouble. Right now, he's sitting on a $50,000 fine, which is nothing to any of them. Really, you know, that's not a whole lot of money. But we don't know what else is coming down the line. Plus, he's really frustrated because last week he got in a fight with Suez, a fist fight. So, I mean, it's something that's brewing. And I think it's because he has so much pressure on him. He is the greatest basketball player that ever lived as a part owner of his team. And for some reason, this guy wakes up expecting excellence from everybody. And he's not getting it. And it's not all Bubba's fault. Tyler Reddick has the other car, and he's doing really well. And I think he's just a little bit more talented, and maybe he's getting a little bit more of the good stuff that Bubba's not. I don't know, but Bubba's really frustrated, and he could be in trouble. It doesn't look like he's going to make the playoffs this year. And Michael Jordan don't play around. So everything is about performance, of course, in racing. So we're gonna that's soap opera. We're gonna have to see how that shakes up because people that's real fickle and they'll let you go.
Let me show for educational purposes this video on this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yet rain-soaked finish to the NASCAR Chicago Street Race. Thousands of fans packed Grant Park this weekend to watch the race that aired right here on NBC5. But for the second year in a row, storms disrupted the race. We have team coverage for you tonight of all of the race day action, from fans who weathered, literally, the long rain delay to the impact on local businesses. But let's go first to NBC5's Mike Berman, who joins us with some of the race highlights and a one-on-one with the winner, Mike.
Yeah, Everett, it was another year and another bout with Mother Nature, but ultimately another successful NASCAR weekend right here in our great city of Chicago. And nobody's saying that more than Alex Bowman tonight. Raindrops started falling just before the start of the race, so NASCAR gave drivers the option to race on wet weather tires. Hoping to show you video of the race. Kyle Larson won the pole yesterday, so he led everyone to the green flag. But once they took the green, all eyes were on the driver who started fifth. That's Shane Van Gisbergen. The New Zealander won last year's Cup race and yesterday's Xfinity race, but no three-peat because he hit the wall on lap 26 and his day was over. After that, lots of rain. The red flag came out, a full stop of the race for nearly 2 hours. Big drying trucks made an appearance to help get the track ready for racing again. Finally, they got back to racing, and eventually Bowman prevailed in a shortened 58-lap race. When it was over, Layla Rahimi talked one-on-one with him in victory lane.
Congratulations, Alex, to get this win after not having one since 2022. What is that feeling like for you?
Yeah, it's certainly emotional. You know, I had brain injury and then I broke my back, and a lot has happened since 2022. So to make it back here, just so thankful for Hendrick Motorsports to stick with me through some injuries and some hard times. So just really appreciate the opportunity to be here driving this Ally 48, and glad to get it parked in victory lane where it belongs.
To have the strategy, the perseverance in the rain in the streets of Chicago, and an unconventional race for NASCAR, how do you put that all into perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think so much happened today, obviously, right? Like, I was really upset with myself when the red flag came out for crashing Bubba. Like, never want to do that, and just it was a dumb mistake that I made, and I've been embarrassed about it ever since. And to kind of try to put that away and go try to win a race is difficult sometimes. So just means a lot to be given the opportunity to restart up front with the end of these deals, and glad we were able to make it happen.
Alex, congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will have.
Hey, Stacy, can I add this? They did something in NASCAR they'd never done before because they didn't have lights there. It was such a long delay. They weren't looking forward to that. They didn't expect this to happen. The weather happens, but they set a clock at 8 o'clock. Said if who's ever in the lead at 8 o'clock is going to win the race, which is so bizarre. It never happens. But that's just how this race. Like when I started, I said this race had everything. It had everything you'd want. We never have protesters. We never have to change from one tire to the next. You know, that's just bizarre. And we're on an actual street. This was so much fun. If you get a chance, go back and watch as much as you can, because it was a real fun race. And it's a race where, you know, you have an option to tape it and then go do something and come back later. I said, nope, I'm watching it live, because this is a real spectacle happens, you know, every now and then. Now we got a bigger track, got a tri-oval, Pocono this week. The usual suspects like Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, they're going to be up contending for the lead. Denny Hamlin, guys like that, but you just never know. And this is a good one. The Pocono's a really good race. I'd like to go there someday, Stacey, and you're not too far from it. So
Right.
maybe we could all
In
meet
Philly,
there one day.
we're not too far from it in Philly. So thank you. Does anyone want to go on about Caitlin Clark getting the first triple double as a rookie with the WNBA? Before I was trying to give Todd some time to get back on to do his Wimbledon tennis. Todd
Play
tennis.
tennis, man.
She's the best. She's good.
She just keeps proving her worth.
Yeah.
For the WNBA and for everybody, and it's just she keeps everybody interested right now, and it's good for everybody. I'm glad things are kind of calming down a little bit, and people are just playing basketball, and they're just going out there. But it's no end to her. She's going to be one of the best basketball players ever, and break all the records. And she's just phenomenal. So it's so good for the sport. It's so good for women's sports in general.
Yeah, I know. I want
Right.
to say on behalf of Aguna, the capitalist who understands capitalism probably better than anybody, on the show aside from me. He understands that. I would say that, it's something that Aguna said some time ago, and I would probably agree with it. He talked about women's basketball. If you want salaries to be higher, Todd, then this is the way to do it. With this Caitlin, with the woman there, this is the way to raise the stakes, as it were. That's capital. She's
One
good
day
at
There we
it.
I
go.
hope to
Man,
wake
now
up.
you
One
made me
day I hope to
understand it
wake
now,
up
Keith.
like
Thank
Keith,
you.
where
Yeah,
I don't
that's
understand something. And I
that's
just
something
speak about it
that Nas
confidently
may
for no
not
reason.
understand. I don't
No,
know
you
if
don't
Nas
know what you're
understands it.
talking about. How many
See?
WNBA games
See?
have you watched this season?
See?
Have you
Most
watched
of
any
these
games, Keith? Have you watched any
Hey,
games?
you know what? I am so tempted to watch it because of her, and
That's a yes or no question.
also,
It's a yes or no.
No, he was tempted to, but he
Oh,
didn't
you were
quite.
tempted to.
and I'm even tempted to watch the Lakers because of LeBron James playing
LeBron,
next to his own son. Where do you
yeah,
find
he
that
scored 2
history?
points the other night.
That is
Yeah, so
history. History is being made. Where do you
Okay,
find
it's all
so
about the nostalgia, right?
okay,
where do you
we've
find
heard
the
enough. You don't even
$100?
watch the games, so just stop.
No, but Nas, history is being made. History in the Lakers.
It's
I
not.
mean,
It's
if
not that big of a deal, man.
I tell you,
Relax.
man, if the LeBron James, he and his son can't pull it through, I mean that'll be quite interesting.
I'm sure they'll
I would
enjoy their
like.
Speaking of
time
which,
together while
speaking of which,
Bronny is in the G League and talking to LeBron on FaceTime. I'm sure they'll
yeah, well,
enjoy many
speaking of
great
which, you guys
conversations.
want to talk about Bronny and LeBron and how that happened? Anybody want to talk to that?
I don't
Not
know.
really,
Yeah, I'm not.
but
Ron was on the team.
basically, the Buss family doesn't have much money, so they have to monetize the last few years of LeBron's career. So
Oh,
LeBron has more sway in that organization than we ever seen a
All
player
the
have.
sway.
That's
He
how
got
he was
all the
able
sway.
to. That's how he was able to pick the coach and also force them to put his son on the team because the
Yeah,
Lakers have to maximize as much money as they can for LeBron out the door. Kind of similar to what they did with Kobe in his last years there because it's a family-owned business. They don't have money like some of the other owners. So that's where the trouble is. As far as Caitlin
that
Clark,
black privilege?
are
Is that black
you an
privilege?
idiot?
What?
They're a white family. They're not black.
What the heck are you?
You
Hear
know?
that, Steven?
yeah.
All right,
He said, "You
Keith,
hear that,
Steve.
boss?"
All right, Keith, we don't have much time because we started out later than normal because we were
Damn,
off.
so
But you've
Keith,
got to stop so that people can respond and we can move on. Sorry, go ahead, no cap. And what does no
Okay,
cap mean?
But that's
no
what the kies are saying these days. No cap. That's a real fresh
no
expression.
lies.
So if you
Yeah,
need
that's
to
a real
know,
fresh expression.
know that slang is on his way out the door. The fact that
Yeah.
Steven knows it should give you a good idea. About
That's
how
right.
much-
They'll never. You're gonna change your name before the show's over now, Cap.
Okay,
I think he
thank you,
called me
Stephen.
something
Go
else.
ahead,
But it,
no cap. Excuse me, no cap. Go ahead and please finish.
Captain
the
America.
WNBA thing, we see Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese breaking certain records, but that's based on them getting so much playing time as rookies. Normally, you don't get this much playoff playing time, but they went to really bad teams, so they get a lot of usage. They get the ball a lot, and it's a great thing to see. But overall, the WNBA viewership that we're seeing, a lot of it is through gambling. A lot of it is
Yeah.
through TV just lacking options because we've come to the point now where live sports are more valuable than most TV shows because that's the one thing you can't DVR. You can't say you're going to watch it later because you will know the results. So it's great for the WNBA, man. They're going to make more money than they ever have in the next few years. This is not all
Hey,
based on
gambling runs the NFL too,
Exactly.
Captain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
So,
I'm happy to see a father.
Aguna, you wanted Aguna has a new name. I see it says the voice of reason. Are you no longer the Nigerian moderate Republican?
Oh, I'm still. Well, they kicked me
He
out. the
can't be
party
he can't be a Republican no more. He's never said anything positive about a Republican.
See,
because
they
I
kicked
hold
him
them
out.
accountable. I hold them accountable. Which is
Yeah,
something
but Stacey, can I say real quick about LeBron? I'm happy to see a father and a son playing
First thing,
together.
can I finish? Can I? She asked me. You guys
She's
are
asking
already.
you about your
That's
name
what I'm
on your
saying. You don't
thing.
follow the rules.
There's no
Follow-
relevance. There's no relevance to
No,
that
I was
name.
asking him about LeBron and them.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay, go ahead.
Thank you. And give me permission like you gave your.
I didn't know. I thought she was just asking you about your name change.
Well,
He can't help himself.
I'm trying to keep the show going.
No, yeah, I'm sure you're good at
Everybody
about that.
understands.
Okay,
Stephen
so
and Keith are
LeBron
high
James
from the debate. We got to let them calm down. It's gonna take a while.
Yeah, because they're gonna get real live when the debate stuff comes up. So yeah, so LeBron James, you knew this was coming. The unfortunate part about it is, I think he scored like 2 points in the G League the other day. My son was talking about it. I mean, it's a lot of fanfare and stuff around it. There are other players that are better than him that could have been drafted by the Lakers, but again, it's a new story. We're a news cycle driven market, right? So it makes a good story. As far as Caitlin goes, I mean, no cap is exactly right. She got a lot of playing time. They're going to elevate her in this new first season, especially coming off of a phenomenal college season that we just saw. So it just goes to the storyline and the theme. And, their viewership is up. I haven't watched the game yet, but I will when it gets closer to the finals. But
I've watched games.
I can't watch it. I barely watch NBA.
Dude, they're so good. How did you not watch them? I've been watching them. They are really good. These women have some talent,
Steven,
man.
No, I never did it before. I'm not going to do it now. Okay?
But we were ignorant. We were ignorant. We didn't watch it. These women have talent, man.
So the last thing, settle down, Steven, settle down. The last thing I'm going to say
about LeBron and his son.
I just want to say that I'm not a fan of LeBron. I'm not a fan of LA. I like the fact that the father and son can play together. I don't care what happens to LA because I don't like LA, so that's fine with me. But I'm happy that they can actually do that. I think that's a real thrill to be able to play with your kid like that professionally, play basketball and have him be with you. It's just I think that's awesome. It's so almost unheard of, but it's a nice thing to have. But this basketball player, what's her face? What's going to happen when she makes Kate, $1 billion a year? So think about how jealous they're gonna be then, because she's gonna be the highest paid basketball player in the world, man. She's gonna get more than the men. Probably she's gonna get more than the men.
First of all, basketball
we need Clark. We need Clark. Give her $1 billion.
That's like the Django Part 2 going on right now.
Like, what is wrong with
that? What is happening? Can I just say this, Stacey? The Euros is going on. Euro 2024 is going on. Netherlands just lost to England.
For people like Todd, what is Euro 2024?
That's basically the World Cup for Europe, right? It's a soccer.
We don't watch soccer around these
parts. But what about the other one that's going on? Coda, something like that.
Copa. When the U.S. got smoked out of that one, I didn't.
U.S. is embarrassing, man.
But it's going to be a big game. Spain versus England in the final for the Euro is going to be a big deal. And I don't know. There's a documentary called Wembley on Netflix that talks about the last time England was going for a European title and how it was almost like this big riot in the streets and people were going. It was actually in England, though. So if you don't know about the hooligans and the British soccer fans, this is going to be one to watch as far as if England wins, which England and Spain, these are two powerhouse teams going at it. Holland was really good, so the fact that they beat the Netherlands was a big deal for England. But we're gonna see. I just want to see the aftermath because you thought like when they won and went crazy, that was a big deal. Wait till you see if England wins the Euros.
Well, who's your pick? Who you picking?
I'm going for England. Unfortunately, I'm gonna pull a Keith and go with the colonizers.
It's in Nigeria, sir.
I'm gonna pull a Keith.
Hey, them Spaniards, they colonized a lot too.
Civilization, right, Keith? If it wasn't for the West, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be civilized, and so that's why you give homage to Stephen, and that's why someday, Keith, someday you will be in white man's heaven.
We wouldn't be sitting in air conditioning.
You're gonna be serving biscuits, but you're gonna be in white man's heaven.
But you know what? I was impressed. I was impressed with an upcoming sport, rugby. I mean, man, I saw these white girls, man, rugby women. These white.
So you were watching this lady, boy. She was watching the women.
Man, she was objectifying women. You're gonna end up that girl. Don't end up with a hush money trial. You keep on.
Woo! I'm serious.
I haven't seen the women, but I know you have to be tough to play that sport. You have to be double tough to play that. So I'm sure them women are double tough.
Oh man,
I understand that.
Names, Keith? What were the names of the teams?
Oh, I don't know, sir. I just know
Okay.
The
that.
dragonflies. It's
Thank
always
you.
silly
Thank you
names
for
like
your
the
service.
sky or
Thank you for your
butterflies.
service.
Like in women's basketball, it's like sky,
Did you
fever,
write me about this?
butterflies,
Stacey, whatever place you're
necklaces.
wishing you were right now,
Stop
yes, that would have been a
objectifying
better
rugby
option.
players.
It would have been.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I got to move on. So, Cousin Todd and tennis.
Oh,
So,
no.
you know, I'm going to show this since this is my favorite player, male player in tennis. Cousin Todd.
What's that black girl,
We can't hear you.
cousin
You're
Todd?
muted.
Okay. That was Alcaraz, the one you were just looking at, who plays like the name is escaping me. Who do I say he plays like?
McEnroe,
Never mind. Nadal.
Chris Everett.
He plays like Nadal and a combination of Nadal and Federer. So he's really, really good. And so he's still in it. Djokovic is still in, and a guy named Medvedev, who I can't stand. He's still in.
He beat the best guy.
And I think this is going to be between Djokovic, unfortunately, and Alcaraz. Now, for the girls, all my girls are out. But the two girls that are still in are a girl named Robakina and a girl named Jasmine Paolina, Italian girl. And
So Coco Golf. So did Coco Golf lose?
everybody's gone except those two. It's actually
Coco
I-
lost in the first round,
can't
didn't
say
she?
whether or not somebody lost, especially if she's black. Todd can't say her name. Did Coco Golf lose? I love Coco Golf. I hope she
Yeah.
didn't lose.
of
It was the
course-
first round, wasn't it?
Okay,
No.
I can't
Coco
deal
would
with
never
it.
lose in the first round.
Stacy, would you shut up and let me finish the sport?
Oh no.
This is crazy. I'm not
Family
talking about
Feud.
people who are out, Stacy. I'm only talking about the people that are still in. So if I didn't mention her, then she's obviously gone. You dumb black loogie.
He's so upset about it.
So she's out. So these are the two girls left. And one or the other is going to win.
So
Just
there's
like
two
the
girls
boys.
left, and one of the others going to win. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna bet on it.
Why don't you bet on your skin? You look like Donald Trump.
We
I'll
can't
take
hear
it as
you.
a
You have
I'll take it as
bad
a compliment.
What?
You
I
have
have
a really bad connection. It's
I
hard
don't-
to hear you, cousin.
I don't
Todd.
have a bad connection. What are you talking about?
Does anybody else
speak-
hear Todd going in and out?
Yeah, his speaker piece is in his ear, and his earpiece is in his mouth, probably.
Oh gosh, he's such a comedian. He's so crazy. And look at his boy toy. He can't get enough of. I mean, his buddy. He can't get enough of him. Look, he's just grinning and carrying on. It's ridiculous. I don't know how your wife. Well, never mind. You know what? Just forget I said anything.
All right, so
Anything Steven
let's get on to
Anything he says. He didn't even have to say anything. And yeah.
Yeah. You so smart. You's important. You so smart. Yes, sir. That was a good
let's
joke.
get on. Let's
Be
get on
still my
to.
heart.
Let's get on to the debate. We were off for July 4th.
Sleepy
Let's get to this debate. Watch this.
For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Was right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Okay, let's start with
Wow.
Cousin Todd. I'm going to start with Cousin Todd. Cousin Todd, talk about.
I'll tell you what I'm
Talk
going to
about-
talk about. I don't need you to tell me what to talk about. What I'm going to talk about is how ignorant you were to play that clip. You're such a typical Republican playing that clip. What was that for? What was that for, Republican? You are obviously a Trump supporter. You didn't play any clips of Donald Trump lying constantly, habitually, but you decided to play that. You're a typical Republican, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And for those, he lost his train of thought is all he did on that clip, which happens to you, Stacey, and it definitely happens to the coon laughing down the bottom. I've seen that happen. And so that just happens, no matter how old you are. And so
It's not about
I
age.
think you mean no matter how young you are, that happens.
He's old, and the president is even older. And him and Joe Biden and Trump are only 3 years apart. So it's a joke when people talk about his age.
It's not about age.
Now, what I want to say is we are secure in that the president is coherent and he can handle what comes up because he has a vice president who is as sharp as a tack. Unlike Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a habitual liar who wants to take this country down in flames and hand it over to, and let me just say this, Donald Trump never liked poor crackers like you, Stephen, or poor niggers like Keith. He never hung around people like you. You couldn't even go into his hotels. And so he had a lawsuit because blackies like you brought a lawsuit against Trump for keeping blacks out of his hotels and apartments. And so he never liked poor people. He never dealt with poor people. So I don't know what Stephen thinks he's going to gain by Trump being in office. Nothing. He's only for rich white people and business owners, which you're not.
Is Stephen allowed to use the N-word?
And so
only with the hard R.
Tom, I'm not talking to you. So this is the point. Poor white people, Trump is not interested in. He didn't do anything for you when he was in office. He didn't cut your taxes. He cut wealthy people's taxes. He didn't get you health care because he said, let's get rid of Obamacare and replace it with, I couldn't quite think of what to replace it with. So nothing. He's not interested in lowering costs for your medicines. Joe Biden did that. Remember I said, Stephen, isn't it a good thing that you can get insulin now for only $35 as opposed to $200 a month? I don't use insulin, not for me. I said, what about all the millions of people that, well, I'm not benefiting from it. This is typical white behavior and thoughts. So not only that, inhalers, $35 cap on inhalers, people with asthma, emphysema, COPD. So that's a good thing. Donald Trump didn't think of anything like that to lower costs for poor people like you. He's not interested. So that would be Joe Biden who did that. Another thing I told you about Joe Biden, $200 a month for people making under $70,000 a year. That's good for the children. So then what he did was slash the poverty level in half. Do you see that? Because of $200 a month for people who can't afford to feed their children. Trump didn't think of that. Why not? He's not interested in anything like that. So Joe Biden is fit for office, and there's Harris to back him up just in case he forgets anything. Don't forget you had the senile Ronald Reagan in office. Never thought anything about that. Then you had a dictator. You called him a dictator. Trump, liar in chief. You called him a dictator. So now you want this dictator back in office, and the Supreme Court is making sure he becomes a dictator, a king.
Okay, Todd, you can't talk the whole show.
Yes, I can,
I'm sorry.
Republican Trump supporter. So the Supreme Court has the audacity to make it legal. They said only if it's an official act. Well, what is an official act?
This news coverage of the first.
An official act is anything you say is official. So just like Donald Trump said, I remember he took the papers from the White House to Mar-a-Lago. Those confidential papers that he was not supposed to take from the White House. He stole them, took them to Mar-a-Lago, and said, no, I declassified those papers. It's all declassified. How did you declassify them? Well, all I have to do is say they're declassified, and they're declassified. Sometimes you don't even have to say it. You can just think it. Remember? And you talking about Joe Biden? Why didn't you play that clip, Trump supporter Stacey? All I have to do is think. And so then it's declassified. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. But it's true now, because as long as it's official, he can do it and get away with it. Now,
Wow.
that is so, those words, official, that is so ridiculous. That's as trivial as saying, I take full responsibility. That's meaningless babble. It's meaningless to say, I take full responsibility. That doesn't mean anything. But all you have to do is say that. Just like Trump, all he's got to do is say, oh, no, this was an official act. Okay, you can get away with it. It is ridiculous. It is outrageous. Biden has to win so that we can expand the court and get these monkeys out of there, because we're going to put term limits on, 20-year term limits, and that's it. This lifetime nonsense was crazy to start with, but this was all white boys who came up with this. And so they back
First
then.
presidential debate, President Biden and former President Donald Trump made a lot of claims tonight, and we're going to fact check them. CBS News Chief Washington Correspondent Major Garrett has been looking into all of the statements made tonight. Major?
Thank you, Nora. The CBS Confirmed team has 3 fact checks for you out of the box. Let's go to our first one. President Trump said we have the greatest economy in the history of our country. Now, of course, the economy is a perception as much as a statistical reality, but there are statistics. And the statistics show, based on gross domestic product, unemployment, and stock market gains, there are other times in American history where the economy was far better than during the 4 years of the Trump administration. On 2 of those metrics, gross domestic product and unemployment, even the Biden administration record is better than the Trump record even before the pandemic set in. Let's go to fact check number 2. This is something that President Biden said, talking about immigration, about a recent change he made about those crossing the border, saying that 40% fewer people are coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. We rate that as partially true because of something that President Biden has recently done. Those border crossings are down, and they are down by about 40%. Of course, before that, the numbers were higher. They compare somewhat favorably to those during the Trump administration. That's why we rate this as partially true.
Okay, let's stop there. Keith.
Why couldn't you play that as opposed to playing Joe Biden's gaffes? Why couldn't you just play that, you Trump supporter?
Okay,
Why
you had
you
your
do
turn.
that?
You had your turn. Look, he said they're partially true. God, man. The man is a liar. Who fact checks the fact checker?
Are you talking about Trump?
Right.
Are you
No,
talking about
the fact checker.
Fact checkers. This is nonsense. That's a
Fact
big
checkers.
lie.
Oh, this is crazy.
Lie.
So what
He's
can
talking about it's partially true.
Like
Of
a
course it's
Soviet
partially
Union
true.
crap.
What do you think partially
Okay,
true
thank
means?
you.
Steve? What is that
Excuse
statement?
me. Let me play.
So
Let
do
me
you
go
agree
back
with what
and
they
play
said
the
about
rest
Trump?
of it, and let me go back and play the rest of it, and then I'm going to have Stephen comment on the next one.
Another very important point that came up in the debate was a comment from President Trump about partial birth abortion or abortions late in term, 8th, 9th month, even afterwards. Former President Trump said, quoting former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, that there could be killings of babies even after birth. We rate this as false. Governor
Not false.
Northam was talking
true.
about a hypothetical situation where a baby was not going to live outside the womb. And this is called infanticide. Everyone knows that. It's not legal in any state. No state is debating making it legal. That's why we rate this claim asserted by President.
Okay, Stephen.
No, that's
Trump
been
said-
proven.
former
What he
President
just
Trump
said is
that.
proven untrue. What he just said has been proven to be untrue.
So anything Trump says is true. Anything Biden says is false.
No, I'm saying
It's
no.
so
Trump
crazy.
can say something that can be judged partially true. Same way with Biden. You can take
So is
partially
that
true,
partially
whatever.
true? That's partially false or partially true then?
No, what this guy said just now was wrong, because that's
And-
not
That you
true.
can
They
kill
would.
babies after
The
birth.
governor
Based
was
on your
the
expert-
governor. She asked me. The governor was for after you have the baby, you put the baby in a little closet room. Then the woman who had the baby and the doctor and whoever else discusses everything. If they don't want the baby to live, they
Okay,
don't take
Stephen,
care of
I
the
gotta
baby.
stop you
That's
right
what it
there.
was. That's what they tried
Stephen-
to pass in Virginia. I lived it.
Stephen, I have to stop you right there. That's not what stop right there. I'm going to rewind it. That's not what was said.
Just say
So
that
let me
that's
go
BS
back.
what he just said.
Let me go back.
Just move
Excuse
on.
me, Stephen. I'm
Right,
going
you
to go
said
back and
That they
let
would.
you
They
hear
said that they would murder the baby. I'm not saying they would murder the baby. They just wouldn't do anything to keep it alive.
No, okay. Listen to this.
What?
Listen to this.
Partial birth abortion or abortions late in term, 8th, 9th month, even afterwards. Former President Trump said, quoting former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, that there could be killings of babies even after birth. We rate this as false. Governor Northam was talking about a hypothetical situation where a
Okay,
Hypothetical.
now.
No, he
You know what that
wasn't.
means?
No, he wasn't talking about a hypothetical
All right, so
thing.
what
That's
was
not
the
true.
situation then?
That's what that man said. That's not
did
true.
that-
And
had
then he
that
said
ever
that
happened?
Governor Northam was talking about a hypothetical. Governor Northam was
So it
not.
actually
That's what he said. That's what he inserted.
Did it actually
Who's checking
happen?
the fact checkers?
Did it actually happen?
Yes, they were trying to pass that in Virginia. That after the woman had the baby,
Did they
that
pass
they didn't have to keep the baby alive.
Did they
Not
pass
if you want it semantics, whatever you want to call it. But yes, I lived through this. We were all upset about
Did
it.
they pass
That's why
it?
Northam. That's why they got in trouble.
Is it a law?
They
No, it's
didn't
not a law.
pass
So what are we really
it,
talking about?
Aguna. They
What are we
didn't
talking
pass
about?
it, but they wanted to pass it. That's the
So,
point.
What
It
Trump
didn't
is
pass,
saying-
but they wanted. It's not a hypothetical. It did not pass. They
first of all,
pushed
did
it
it pass?
through,
All right, I'm
but
gonna
it did
stop
not
saying it.
pass.
Okay,
That's not
let's fix this.
hypothetical.
Bottom line,
baby
what
was
that was BS.
not
It
going
never-
to live
no, it was
outside
never
the
li-
womb. And this is called infanticide. Everyone knows that. It's not legal in any state. No state is debating making it legal. That's why we rate this claim asserted by President Trump during this debate as false. Nora, back to you.
All right, really
No
interesting.
state is making it legal.
I'll find the woman. I found the woman that wanted to pass it. I'll tell you. I'll find that.
You'll find the woman
right.
that wanna.
It was a woman that came. It was a woman that came up with it. She wanted to pass it, and Northam was all for it.
Good luck.
That's
with
why
that.
we can't. That's
Let me-
one
let
reason
me
we
move
can't
on.
stand Northam.
Okay, let me
cool.
move
Good
on.
luck.
Aguna,
Yeah, but
let me bring Aguna in this. Aguna,
you don't know.
everyone, the Democratic Party, they're asking President Biden to step down. Are they trying to bully him?
Are they trying to bully him? No, they're not trying to bully him. They're doing what Democrats always do when the times get rough. They run for the hills. They scatter like roaches. They get all panicky, and basically what they do is they did it again to President Obama during the midterms for Obamacare. As soon as they get the sense of, oh my God, start panic, everything goes out the windows. And that's going to lead to a Trump presidency, to be honest, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, the Republicans, if Trump had the same type of situation, they would make all kind of excuses.
He did have the same
party
kind
line.
of situation. Stacey just tries to convince you he didn't.
But at the end of the day,
If he sat up there and said,
Trump was
"Oh yeah,"
convicted. Trump did an insurrection. He did all these things, and the Republicans still made excuses for it. Even to
Because
the
he
day
did not do all those things.
It's the
Look,
law.
he
It's the
didn't
Justice
do it.
Department. It's
It wasn't an
everybody else's
insurrection.
fault.
Okay.
It's
It was
everybody
not
else's
an
fault.
insurrection.
But as
All
soon
right,
as
we
Bob,
can't have you all
look, you
going
see
back
right
and
here,
forth.
Stephen, I didn't interrupt you. Shut
It
up.
wasn't an
At
insurrection.
the end of the day, the Democrats get very panicky and scared. And so what they're doing now is trying to pressure Biden. Now, I think it would be a a disaster. At the end of the day,
would.
the problem with the debate, not only was Biden over prepared because he was trying to go through stats and figures, and he's an 80 guy. I mean, and meanwhile, the country is looking at him. You know, he's up there trying to talk substantively at 80 years old against a guy that's just lying and doing what he does, you know, talking in his own conviction. And Biden just couldn't keep up with that. You know, he was trying to talk about his record, trying to talk all these different things. And, you know, the biggest dilemma in this whole situation is the media. Trump was right when he said the media can be the enemy of the people, because at the end of the day, you know, you have someone lying, but then you have somebody stuttering, and you're going to say the liar won the debate. You're going to call for, and at the end of the day, it's a bigger news story for Biden to drop out the race than it would be to continue to follow Trump. Because Trump, he's been doing the same stuff. He's been lying. He's been getting convicted. He's doing all kind of great. That's not popular news anymore. Popular news is watching the Democrats run for the hills when they think Biden won't win the election.
He's not a convicted felon. Donald Trump is not a convicted felon.
Look, at the end
you
of the day,
can't be convicted until you get sentenced.
Convicted. I don't care any semantics around what happened.
That's not
Get
true.
That is true.
Again, it's like a
Bet me 1,000.
So no matter what Trump does, he's always right. He's partially false. Is he partially true or partially?
No, sometimes people can be wrong. Nobody's always right. Sometimes people can be wrong. Sometimes people can have a misstatement.
Over 30 times.
But he's better than your Joe Biden.
Wait a minute.
He's better than Joe.
Even though he lied 30
control
times.
your show.
And Stephen, just because you say things loudly,
Who says he lied? I mean, first of all,
he
first
didn't.
thing, the economy is better under Biden than it was under Trump, even without the COVID numbers. GDP grew. Inflation has actually come down. Gas prices have come down. All the things that you try to make the boogeyman about, they're
just gonna lie, Keith. They're just gonna lie. They're just gonna lie. It's over, Johnny.
Okay.
Keep lying. It's over, Johnny. There's nothing wrong with Joe Biden. He's fit as a.
Nobody said that.
Okay.
Nobody said nothing's wrong with him. He didn't have a good debate. But Trump lied.
So speaking of
Come
former
on.
President Trump,
You
we
got
have a
nothing.
comment from a viewer who says,
I just
if you
said
look at the
31 times he
screen,
lied. All you can do is pick
if you
on
look
Joe
at the
Biden.
screen-
You got nothing.
What's the
Nothing.
percentage of tell me grow under
If you
Trump,
look at the
Stephen? How much
screen,
did the economy grow under
it
Trump?
says, excuse
Sounds
me,
like you
if
got
look at
nothing.
the screen, it says, Keith
You
and
don't know.
Stephen, do you support Project 2025? First off, Cousin Todd or Aguna, do you want to explain what Project 2025 is before Keith and Stephen explain whether or not they support it?
First
It's
thing,
it's the American heritage.
American Heritage, the Heritage Foundation.
Or Cousin
Yeah,
Todd,
American
which
Heritage
one?
Foundation puts it out.
They put together a conservative plan to basically lobby the Trump administration to do a couple of different initiatives. One being do away with D&I initiatives. It actually gives a lot of power to the executive branch of the presidency and to order to do a lot of things through executive order. I mean, if you're a conservative, part of this is their push for minority rule. If you think about it, there are more registered Democrats in the country than Republicans, but they're concentrated in different states. What this does is it kind of makes sure that the executive office has some legitimate power in order to, to change the scheme of the country if needed, right? Because at the end of the day, you see there's a conservative court system, right? If Trump wins the presidency, you're going to have the executive branch also in the Republicans' hands. Then, both the Senate may flip and the House you still have a Republican in the majority. So this 2025 project has some legitimacy of getting enacted if in fact Trump wins, just because there's no checks and balances around that. And again, the big thing I'm opposed at is, the D&I initiative taken away, though. I think there are ways that you can go about, promoting equity and inclusion without just doing away with different. But what it basically does in a nutshell, though, is it guts a lot of these government agencies, right? So, and one of the things that Todd didn't talk about, the Supreme Court, what they ruled, they gave a lot of power back to the judicial branch of the government when it comes to seeing what's constitutional around regulations and things like that, to taking that away like the FDA and some of the other departments. And what that does is that basically at this point it politicizes, judging around regulations and things like that. And Trump has already said he's going to deregulate a lot of different things if he becomes president. So bottom line is Project 2025 is a conservative wish list from the Heritage Foundation to basically reshape the country in their eyes. All right. And so again, people need to read it, but it is it's very interesting how if it pans out. But it has become a big talking point for the Democrats because again, it's looking to shift they're looking to shift the narrative away from Joe Biden, first thing.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, this is one cause for concern just because now it looks like Trump is probably going to win the presidency.
Oh my, really?
Okay, let's play it. Let me play it. Listen to this and then Stephen.
Really?
We've had viewers asking us about something called Project 2025. It's a plan that could dramatically change the United States government if it's enacted.
World News journalist William Pitts is breaking down what it would do and where Project 2025 came from.
What is Project 2025? Basically, it's a 900-page plan to overhaul the U.S. government for the next Republican president. It was developed by the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank. It has 4 areas: policy, personnel, training, and a playbook for the first 180 days to be written later. Now, policy is not exactly that surprising, though it definitely does come down on the hard right side of things. It's a conservative wish list. It deals with immigration, building a border wall. It does not ban abortion, but it does call for taking mifepristone off the market. It calls for a stronger military, but also removing diversity initiatives from the Pentagon and reinstating service members who were kicked out for not getting vaccinated against COVID. And it aims to defeat what it calls the woke agenda. Personnel is where the big changes come in. Project 2025 would reclassify as many as 50,000 federal workers as political appointees who could all be fired on Inauguration Day. The plan is to train what the plan calls an army of loyal conservatives to take their place, and it creates a presidential personnel database of approved people. And there's a training program for prospective political appointees. It's free, and most classes are between 30 and 90 minutes, aiming to educate people on how to be government employees. So who's behind Project 2025? The Conservative Heritage Foundation lists 3 people as in charge of the project. All 3 are former Trump administration officials, and some of the authors of the document are also Trump officials. Christopher Miller, Trump's Secretary of Defense on January 6th, Ken Cuccinelli, who was the head of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Peter Navarro, a former Trump official who's now in jail for contempt of Congress. But Trump says this about it: I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. President Biden has made this a big issue the last few days, saying he's trying to hide his connections to his allies' extreme Project 2025 agenda. The only problem, it was written for him by those closest to him. Project 2025 should scare every single American. But remember, this is only a plan drawn up by a think tank. It's not a law, it's not a bill, it's not even an official Republican Party plan. And if most of this was put into effect, it would definitely face a lot of legal challenges almost immediately. William Pitts, 12 News.
Well, Aguna said it himself. They don't have anything right now. They want to distance himself from Biden after he says Biden is doing great. Biden's, you might call me an asshole, but at least I don't lie. At least I don't lie. All you do is lie.
You lied.
That's all it was.
You're lying now.
No, I'm not lying. But it is a lot of good things in it. And Donald Trump wants to separate himself from some of it. Donald Trump's going to do what he wants to do. If he has people that are advisors around him, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Everybody's going to give him the input. And Aguna, the one thing you said that was true, Donald Trump is going to win. If we can have a free, fair election, Donald Trump should win. You said on here, Joe Biden's okay. He just stuttered and stammered and do. I said last week, I wanted Biden to do good. I didn't want him to do that bad. I want Donald Trump to go against him. And then you said Kamala's good. Kamala is inserted as the vice president because she looks like a black woman. That's the only reason she's there.
They run for the hills.
That's why DEI is a bad thing.
Wait.
You have to have the best. You have to have the best. You have to have the best people in the right places. Because the vice president is not good as vice president. She wouldn't be good as president.
Why
Joe
not?
Biden is not good
Why
as
are you
not?
saying
president.
that?
Why
Just
not?
Joe
keep on
Why
Biden
not?
has Parkinson's
Why
disease.
not?
He's not doing well.
We're talking
But
That's
y'all
about
not
are
Harris.
here
true.
trying to
There's
lie to
not,
people to
there's
say,
nothing.
Of that.
Okay,
You're just saying
one at a
right-name
time.
stuff. At the end of
One
the
at a
day,
time.
no, what I'm
Press
saying at the
secretary,
end of the day is
President.
if
Wait, wait,
this
wait,
dude,
wait,
did you
wait,
take your
wait,
meds
but it
today?
wait.
was my
Gotta
turn to
stop.
talk.
Meds today?
No, I'm going to stop you. The White House press secretary
You
said
didn't
yesterday
stop
that
him.
President Biden does not have Parkinson's disease. So you can't go on here and
Yes, you
just
can.
say
Anybody knows he has
Lying.
Parkinson's
You're saying
disease.
I lie.
that's
You're
not true.
projecting.
No,
Projection is when you're a liar
absolutely he
and
has
somebody else
Parkinson's
lying.
disease.
He does
Here it
not.
goes.
There's a doctor
Okay.
that I heard today said across the mall he could diagnose him with Parkinson's disease. Hey,
Oh, you
Stacey,
believe
guess
that?
what?
What's
The
the doctor's name?
government lies
What's
to
the
you,
doctor's name?
Stacy. So if the
What's
government
the
says
doctor's
it, you
name?
believe it. Just keep
What's the
believing in the
doctor's
government
name?
because we tell you the truth and
Pull
the
it out
government
your behind
lies to
speaker
you.
like everything else you say. You just
Watch.
pull it out
Hey,
your behind.
Stacy, when it comes out that he has Parkinson's disease,
Okay, thank
let's
you.
remember
Thank
this
you.
show
I gotta
now.
move on.
Enough, Stephen. You
I
don't like
gotta move
nobody.
on.
Enough, Gurna, you're being
I
an
gotta bring
asshole.
Keith in here.
Takes one to
Keith,
know one.
I guess
Keith,
it does. That's why we're soul brothers.
Keith, I want you to talk about
Everything Stephen said is correct.
President
And I love
Trump's
him.
incorrect assertions during the debate. How do you
And
justify
he's
that?
great in bed.
Well, first of all, it is presumptive to say that he is making incorrect statements if you don't give the source of the lies, the so-called lies. I never heard anybody give a.
Stephen
He
gives a
did
story.
give
Oh,
a source.
we just played the video where the reporter said this
Gave the
was the
source.
incorrect
Reporter.
information that he gave.
The reporter
They
said.
did a fact
Keith,
check. They did a
Keith,
fact check.
Yeah,
You
a fact
can't
check
pivot
from whom?
to
A
checking
fact
the
check
source
based on
every
who?
time you don't believe.
Now, look, if you're gonna keep interrupting me too, and I never interrupt you.
I'm the voice of
So
reason.
the fact checker needs to be checked. You know, this fact checker, where did he get his fact from? He checked it, but where did he get it from? Where was his source? Was it New York Times? Was it New York Post? Was it the Washington
you
Times?
don't think any other?
Where
You don't think
did he
any
get it?
other? You don't think any
Where
other
was
news
his
station would have
source?
checked the fact checker?
Where
You don't
was
think
his
any other?
source?
You don't
You
think
just say that
anybody
he
else
lied.
would
I'm
check
gonna move
the
on.
fact checker?
Yeah, I know.
If
You got to
he
move
said
on.
something
See,
incorrect.
he
You
won't.
don't
He
think
won't
it's
let me
CBS
talk.
News
You're
now.
just saying.
See,
See,
it
You're
he
just
wasn't.
won't let me
saying.
It
talk.
wasn't MSNBC. It wasn't.
Yeah, you got to move on.
Okay, stop,
No,
You got to
Aguna.
move on.
I
let
gotta
me,
talk to him. Aguna, let me
Stacey,
talk to him
this
for a
is
minute.
important for our viewers. Again, this is a conservative talking point. Check the fact checkers, right? It was on
That's
CBS,
right.
which is
Because
a
they don't
neutral
give you
news
any
network.
source.
But everybody pivots when reporters come out to say, hey, they're lying when it's something you don't like.
He
Steven,
said
you know,
Don't
CBS
like
is
it when it's
neutral. He
fact
said
checked.
CBS is neutral. Listen to
Thank
this
you.
guy.
Oh, so
CBS
what's
is
not
neutral. Come
give
on,
me a
man.
news source then. Give me a news source.
It
That's not
doesn't matter. You can't have the
give
same
me a
people.
news
You can't
source
have the
that's not neutral.
Okay, you guys can't take over. Guess
I'm
what?
not.
You
I'm
can't
just
take
asking
over.
a
I'm sorry.
question.
You
You
know,
can't
CBS,
I
take over. You
always
gotta
hear
stop.
Aguna.
Walter
You
Cronkite.
can't take over. You have to stop.
Stacey,
Thank
that's
you.
not.
You
You're gonna
can't take
stop
over.
us.
You
That's not
have
gonna
to
stop
stop.
us.
Please stop. We're going to move on. I
We're
know
having a
this
good
is very,
dialogue.
this should, I'm so happy that you all are so passionate about it. More Americans should be just as passionate about this as
They
you are,
are.
because this is about the future of our country.
They
So
are.
it's very important that you
Well,
are very excited about
well, we
this.
have to
Landslide.
speak
Show
the truth. We
some
can't just
comments
say people are
from the
lying just
guests.
because we don't agree with them. It's
Because you know,
always
it's not that I don't agree. It's because you are bold-faced lying. Not that I
and then
disagree
why
with
am
what
I?
you're
How?
saying. It's because what you.
Prove it. Prove
Just stop.
it. He
Just
can't
answer
prove
the
it. He just
question,
says
How
it.
come I
Stephen.
can still hear Aguna?
Just
And I'm the
answer the
man.
question, Stephen, or just say you are not fully aware of it. So, Stephen, just say the VP is DEI higher. And then thanks, Stacy, from You Gotta Love YouTube. Cousin Todd, before we move on, I want to talk about the Democratic Party in an election year, a few months out from a presidential election, being so divided among the House of Representatives and the Senate on whether or not President Biden should step down. How was that helping the country for them to do that?
I don't understand the question. So I'm just going to say,
Come on, man.
Let Stephen answer first.
Yeah, he's trying to do his best Joe Biden.
Well, that question isn't for Stephen. That question was for you. It's not for Stephen.
That meth is kicking in on Stephen right now.
Let me move on.
He's hiding.
The meth.
To NATO.
Fentanyl epidemic, people, is important.
The thing with fentanyl is don't eat the whole thing, just nibble around the ends.
Why do they never fact check Biden? How come it's always Trump?
They did. They did.
Stop it, Keith.
They did. You wouldn't acknowledge it anyway. You don't.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We know what the truth is, and hopefully Donald Trump can win, and we take out the deep state. That'd be nice for the entire world.
So
if we could take out the deep state, the entire world would be a better place.
Joe Biden assassinated.
We wouldn't go around assassinating people in other countries. We wouldn't be setting up bogus leaders in other countries. We wouldn't be having a bogus election in this country. We got to get the CIA, the FBI straight.
An official act. He is immune. So Joe Biden could take out Trump right now if he wanted to. It's official act.
No, he can't, because that's a lie by Sotomayor. Sotomayor said that they could use this Navy SEAL team to take out somebody. That's a lie, and that's insulting to the Navy 6 team. That's really insulting to say that the president go to them and have them take out a political rival. She should be jerked out of her seat today. When she said that, she should have been jerked out of her seat because the son of a gun is insane. She's a nut, and she's another DEI appointee. She's only there for one reason.
Because she's a woman.
I would like to say
No. Well, she's two reasons. She's a woman, she's black, and she's a lesbian.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Stephen.
Joe Biden.
Stephen, are you talking about our current? Wait, are you talking about our current vice president?
No, you're talking about what's the name on the Supreme Court.
Okay, she is
No,
not.
I'm talking about the woman on the Supreme Court, Sotomayor.
Okay, we're going to move on because you can't say any type of thing.
You make yourself look bad.
No, when she said that Donald Trump can get the SEAL team.
Anything arbitrarily about someone and not have any facts to back it up. I'm going to move on.
I got all the facts in the world, Stacey.
Facts.
I got all the facts in the world. What do you want to know? If you don't mute me, I'll tell you the facts.
You haven't said a fact.
Listen to this.
Tonight, President Biden on the world stage, kicking off a high-stakes NATO summit with 38 world leaders here in Washington.
It's good that we're stronger than ever.
I know all the facts.
Because this moment in history calls for our collective strength.
President Biden and European allies announcing new air defense systems for Ukraine late today.
Putin wants nothing less than Ukraine's total subjugation, to end Ukraine's democracy. But make no mistake, Ukraine can and will stop Putin.
But looming large, the president's political standing, with deepening divisions among anxious Democrats on Capitol Hill, who met today behind closed doors.
I don't think you should stay in the race.
Asked whether they were on the same page.
They're not even in the same book.
10 House Democrats have called for the president to step aside, but one is now backtracking.
Whether they have concerns or not, is beside the point. He's going to be our nominee, and we all have to support him.
Still, while some rank-and-file Democrats are torn, their leadership is holding firm.
We are riding with Biden.
I'm with Joe. Right now, President Biden is the nominee, and we support the Democratic nominee.
Republicans hope the infighting helps them in November.
Joe Biden is not fit for that office, and it's a terrible thing. The Democrats have misled us, and they need to be held accountable for that.
The political chaos comes after President Biden's personal doctor confirmed overnight in this letter that a neurologist who specializes in Parkinson's did see the president, but only during his annual physicals. The specialist, Dr. Kevin Kennard, visited the White House 8 times in 8 months, according to public visitor logs. The president's doctor saying Kennard held, quote, regular neurology clinics at the White House Medical Clinic to support military staff.
It was being incorrectly assumed and insinuated that the president was being treated for Parkinson's. I said right here that the president was not being treated for Parkinson's.
Late today, the former president holding a rally in South Florida.
Our country's not doing too well. We've never had anything like it. Our borders, our economy, the worst inflation ever. We have the politics on our side. We have the policies on our side that will make America great again, and they don't. They will only continue to destroy our nation.
And Gabe, what do the coming days look like for the president?
Well, Lester, tonight he has a call with Democratic mayors to reassure them. Then he's meeting with world leaders again tomorrow here in Washington. And then on Thursday, that rare solo press conference, his first of the year. Lester.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on
NBC,
social media.
CBS, those aren't neutral news sources.
Okay, thank you.
David, you might be
Thank
right.
you. This is going to be
Stephen,
our,
you might
we're
be
out of
right.
time. This is going to be our round table. Let's start with Stephen and then
You're right, Stephen. I don't know about
so
what,
Keith,
but
then
you're
Stephen,
right.
then Aguna, and then Cousin Todd. Keith, your comments.
Well, Stephen, you might be right about the Parkinson's disease. But anyway, what did you want me
We
to
just said during the regular
Stacey, what did you
checkup.
want us to close on?
You can close on whatever you like.
Oh, boy. Now that I'm free to close on it, I can't think of anything.
Thank you. Bye.
Really?
All I
You
can say
can't
is
think?
that-
You can't
all I
think?
can say is that,
Stephen, you're
the
right.
fact checking is a bunch of BS. The fact checking only started just recently. And this is the liberal press, the liberal media that is doing all the fact checking. So that's like putting the fox in the hen house.
They've always fact checked.
So there you go.
Fact checking for the last 20 years.
So
Okay, thank
no.
you.
They've been fact checking for the last.
No.
About?
No.
If the polls are correct and based on a lot of mixed information, if everything's correct, and we do have a fair and free election like we're supposed to have in this country, and we get Donald Trump, this country is going to be so much better off. The world's going to be so much better off. And there's other countries right now that are going through what we're going through, and they're rejecting the garbage that these garbage
What are
men.
we going through?
We're going through a communist Marxist revolution in this country that needs to
And
be
what does that
stopped
mean
right
in
now.
English? What does
It
that
needs
mean
to
in
be
English?
stopped. It needs to be stopped
What
right
does
now.
that mean
It
in
means
English?
that they got you brainwashed and him brainwashed to think this is a good thing for the country. Maybe you're elitist. Maybe y'all are multimillionaire billionaires. I don't know.
Explain
But
what you're
guess
trying
what?
to say.
If you are,
Explain it.
your days are numbered. Because
What
it's
are you
we the
talking
people
about?
and the people in
You're not
France,
making any
people in
sense at
Italy.
all.
You're not letting me talk.
Because you're
Let
just
me talk.
babbling.
You
I
can.
said,
I'll
what-
make my point. I'll make my point if you stop
Okay.
talking.
All right.
So the world and this country would be a better place because they're going to clean up the deep state that for decades has been doing horrible things around the world,
Like
taking
what?
out leaders, installing leaders, starting wars just for profit. This is what the deep state does here. Donald Trump has promised to try to take care of them. If he does, and if he can get a stranglehold on these institutions in our country that's supposed to be on our side that are not on the people's side, then we're going to have a better country. That's what I'm praying for. That's what I'm hoping for. And it has nothing to do with your race or religion or all this garbage that y'all want to fight over. What it is, it's going to be a much better country for everybody. And all of you people who lie and they continue to lie when the war is over. It's like in the World War II. Y'all are like Japanese soldiers holding up a sword.
Okay,
Y'all don't even know you've been
can't
bombed
go on.
twice. You've been bombed twice. We're winning, and we're going to win unless you kill him. Because y'all have no heart. Y'all have no
White
soul.
boys.
Y'all, this is what y'all do. Y'all took out JFK. This is what the deep state did. Stacey, they took out JFK. They want to take out Trump.
We should all be afraid, right? Because at the end of the day, you can't have an educated debate. Look at this show, right? You can't even have a conversation around facts. You can't even disagree because there's name calling, there's all this stuff going on. But at the end of the day, it's about substance and policy. And you saw what Stephen just did. He rambled on about we're a capitalist society. How can you be a communism and capitalism do not go well together? All right.
They do it in China. They do it in China.
Well,
they do it in China.
The only person
nothing you say makes sense. You don't have an.
Can you? Yes, mute this dude, man. This guy is like a fentanyl addict over here. Comes on the show.
They never mute you. She never mutes you.
Back again. He's back again. Where's your cardboard sign? All right. Anyway, so you should be very afraid, because at the end of the day, this whole notion that, hey, if we get rid of all of government, we the people will be better off until there's a hurricane and Hurricane Katrina happens, or until there's a fire in the western.
Don't believe that.
We're trying to get rid until there's an epidemic, until there's
Pull
something going
yourself
on.
up by your own bootstraps.
Just throwing up all this nonsense that the government is bad and we don't need the government. That's the reason why we have the #1 economy in the world. Now, yes, we need certain aspects of government to be reined in, but that is to debate. You don't go in there and just whitewash the whole thing and think that this country is going to be sustainable. And Russia's laughing at us, China's laughing at us, India is laughing at us, because at the end of the day, the things that make this country really great, we are destabilizing and taking those away. That's what the right is talking about. And I'm not saying, hey, you know what, all these policies are bad, but for what Stephen is talking and what Keith is talking, and this just disregard for facts and disregard for innovation and disregard for just being an intellectual thinker, this should scare the hell out of all Americans, because you want somebody like Stephen running the country or Keith to come in there talking about anything of substance, then we're in trouble. Again, we have two choices now with Biden and Trump. They're not great choices, but you have Biden, who is at least trying to talk a little substance. You have Trump, who's talking kill, murder, and we're winning. We're going to take you out. We're all Americans on this show, but he's talking like that, like we're fighting each other, and Russia's sitting back laughing at us. This is what you do. You do this. You do that. Yeah, because I'm an American. I have a right to do that, because in this country we can have a voice of discontent. It doesn't mean I'm an enemy. It means I'm challenging you. And that's what made the country great. Not this, I'm going to win, you going to lose. This is not the Super Bowl. What the hell is wrong with you? You need to grow up and read a book, Stephen.
You're so stupid. You're so stupid.
Don't get mad at me.
You're just so stupid.
Okay, Stephen, it's my turn.
No, Joe Biden, wait a minute, Joe Biden, real quick. Joe Biden got up there and made us the enemy. He made MAGA people the enemy. Donald Trump never did that. Donald Trump has never made you the enemy of the country.
Trump just 15 minutes ago.
Donald Trump, country. I'm the enemy of the country.
I'm a man, Stacey. I'm a man.
So, okay.
You're a punk.
Now, Stephen, you can't do this and stay on the show.
No, he is a punk.
He's getting mad.
Stephen,
Don't get mad.
A punk.
Stephen.
Hey, dummy. Hey, dummy. Hey, dummy. What do you want to say, dummy?
Listen to him. He sounds like
what do you want to say, dummy?
Second grade.
He can't.
Right. No, I'm second grade, but you told me I have a sign. I beg for money.
Okay, this is our round. This is our round table. It's Todd's turn.
Cardboard
Stop talking, Stephen. I'm sorry. Go ahead, cousin Todd.
This is unbelievable that Stephen doesn't realize that he is mentally unbalanced.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about Joe Biden. What is the difference?
Okay.
Stephen is unstable.
Okay, so now
I'm unstable. You can say anything you want to me. I say something to you, right? You say everything you want to me. I'm poor. Me, Keith is a poor nigger. Keith is a poor nigger.
He is.
Keith is a poor nigger, Todd.
He knows that.
You can say anything you want.
That.
But I can't say Keith is a poor nigger.
He knows.
So shut your mouth. You racist bastard! Shut your mouth, Todd! Shut your mouth! Don't you tell me what I can say. When I say it, it's a hard R! It's a hard R! Screw you, Todd! Screw you, Todd! You ain't above me! You're not above Keith! You're not above us! You can't talk to us like that!
He's
this guy. You're gonna vote for
you.
I'll break it down to you.
No, you're a
We gotta calm
racist.
down.
He's
No,
We have to
no.
calm
While
down.
you repeating that word,
He
on
can
this
call
show,
me anything he
Todd.
wants. He can
This is
call
your
me and
Todd.
teeth anything he wants. If I say something,
this show,
I might not be on the show.
you just insulted all of us
That's your
by
fault, Todd.
trying to make
You
some
started this and you
irrelevant
got him
point.
going. So
It
I'm
ain't no
gonna stop
irrelevant
the
point.
show now.
It's called freedom of
At the end of the
speech.
day, you should be above
It's
that.
called
You should
freedom
be
of
above-
speech.
Show.
You should be able to control your emotions.
That's
Right
right.
on.
I'm gonna
It's called
stop the
freedom
show.
of speech. It's
No.
called freedom.
Yeah, you can
I'm
say
gonna
what you
stop
want.
the show.
No,
But
I can't say what I want.
Right
Look,
on.
I'm gonna stop the
and you
show.
look like a damn. Wear your sheet
I
next
cannot say
I'm
what I
gonna
want.
stop
time.
the show.
Wear your hood, bro.
I'm
Don't
gonna
burn your
stop
cross.
the show.
You're the
Aguna,
racist,
you
not
gotta
me.
stop.
No,
Aguna,
you are.
You're the
Aguna,
racist.
stop.
You're the racist. It's a word.
Hey, Grand Goblin,
Okay.
It's a word.
All right. Thank you for joining us. They won't stop. I keep telling them to stop. They won't stop. I said, stop. Stop. Stop.
Just make sure he
We're
makes it
gonna
to his
stop the
rally
show. You all
and
haven't
burns his
calmed
cross
down.
tonight.
I'm not a racist.
White supremacist.
It's a word.
You are.
It's
No.
a word. Cracker.
Responders
Never heard
Cracker.
you
in
say
our
that. I've never
communities,
said that on
you
this
make
show.
our lives livable. Thank you. Thank
He
you.
says
thank
it
you
all
to
the
our women and
time.
men
That's not me.
of the U.S.
So you should
military
respect
for all that you do and sacrificing your
the
lives.
form.
You never
so that
told
we
him to
are free
shut
do
up.
Whatever we choose on this show, we are
Stephen,
forever
you're
indebted.
racist.
On
You
behalf
should,
of
if it offends you should tell him to shut the hell up.
Racist.
who won't stop, the
Racism. Real
Nigerian,
racist.
No, you're the
mother
racist, not me.
comes in,
Yeah, sure. I
or
didn't say
as
the
he
word.
says, the voice of
I didn't say
reason,
the N word either.
or Stephen, the
We're
independent
not
thinker.
children. I'm nearly 60. Somebody could say anything they want about me. I'm not going to say nothing.
You're 70.
I'm 85 years old.
The constitutional conservative,
Dan Klansman on the show.
and
The Klan is
my
a Democrat
cousin Todd.
party.
No, you're the Klan. Don't.
They won't
All right,
quit.
yeah.
They won't quit. I'm Stacey Johnson. Let's keep this
Man,
conversation going on
saying that
Twitter.
word. What's wrong with you?
Oh, I'm sorry. X. Stop. I'm doing the outro, please.
He wouldn't
X.
say that in anyone's face. Don't say it on the show.
You're coming to my goddamn face, see if I'll say it to you.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
X.
Do it, Stephen.
All right.
All right, they won't quit. X, Twitch, TikTok at Sporlitiks.com at TikTok, Instagram, Stephanie Stallworth, the Flow Television Network, and also please join us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube despite this outburst tonight.
And Laguna, I would never say it. I would never say it to your face. It's not.
You
Let's
wouldn't.
keep this conversation going. Let's keep this conversation going on those social media networks. We'll be back next week, and hopefully people would have calmed down by then.
But I would never disrespect you, Laguna.
That's why. Don't say it now. You didn't have to say it. You went on a rant for no reason.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Y'all saying how poor we are and we're pieces of garbage.
Nobody said you were
But I say one thing and then he goes, "You might not be on the show no more." That's a bunch of crap, man. No, it's got to be equal here. It's got to be equal.
Nobody loses their temper but you. You talking about equal? We equally control our emotions, but you got to go there to make some irrelevant point.
It's not irrelevant. It's a freedom of speech in this country. You better be able to say anything. And I was reporting on what Todd said. I reported on what Todd said. I didn't call you that word. I didn't call Keith that word or Stacey that word. But he called Keith that word. But you never stop him. You can say it. You never get offended when he says it.
You called Keith that word, right? And you kept
No,
saying,
I was repeating what Todd said. I didn't call Keith that word.
You own it. Be accountable.
I didn't call Keith that word.
Not control your emotions.
I said what Todd said. I said what Todd said.
So if you're
I'm an emotional. No, I can be an emotional person, but I'm right. I don't care if you don't know I'm right. It ought to be equal on this show. If I can't say words, he can't say words. I've never said that word to hurt anybody ever. I don't need to say words to hurt people.
was cowardice and pathetic to put it off.
You're a coward. And then come see me in my face. I don't have to call you anything. Come to my face and call me a coward. You don't have to call me nothing. You want to come to me? You want to come to me? No, I'm not.
You're talking.
No, I'm not. You just called me a coward. I'm not a coward. You know, if I was a coward, I wouldn't have defended Keith. I wouldn't have defended Keith and said the same thing Todd said to him. You know what a coward does? You know what a lot of cowards do? They sit on they just go like this. I can't say nothing.
And then say
no. Todd had no right to say that about him and say, well, I'm a poor cracker or whatever.
Be accountable.
No, you disparaged. No, it's not.
I'm not disparaged.
I reported on what he said. Reporters can say that. Look it up.
What?
I repeated what he said.
Good night. See you next week.